All right, here we go. We jump into the meat and the potatoes of The Ghost in the Shell, episode 6. And it starts at 5:48 a.m. And
Real
Mr.
quick, sorry. I know we just started, and so I just want to say a tidbit. I went to go watch episode 6 the other day, and I clicked on Ghost in the Shell, and I started watching the original, like the 1995, and I was like, dude, this looks so fucking sick. What did they change the animation? And you see like Kusanagi on the rooftop, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm watching the old Ghost in the Shell. Fuck. And then I switched to the new one, and I was like, aha, we're back.
How did you feel?
I was like annoyed for a second. I was like, damn it, dude. It's so dark and gritty and it's awesome. I don't know. Maybe I'm not, this show's not made for me. I'm a different person.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, well, we'll get into it. But it's 5:48 a.m. and Mr. Soma is getting injected with some B component nanomachines in his eyes and brain, apparently. And the cyber scientists doing the procedure are talking about how the A components will sync with the B components, and they can't take out his old nanomachines because it would damage his brain. And they explain how the nanomachines connect to the brain and stuff. And Soma's like, sick, I'm synced with what I want to be synced with, which looks to be some sort of armor in the background.
Also, like, this poor android hasn't gotten a change of underwear in, I don't know, hundreds of years, because, like, those things are pretty bad. And
no, that's like a stylistic choice. It looks to me that maybe 3/4 of it is like lace, and then you have the
that looks like rot, dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not up on my cyborg physiology
accoutrements.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day we'll get up on that.
It cuts to May 2nd, 2030, and it looks like the Major is crushing some dude from Section 1, and she has a secret meeting. But some dude knocks on the door and blasts it with a shotgun as the Major's clothes are blown off, and she returns fire, but the guy had a bomb on him, and it blows up the entire floor.
So my theory is the Major is resistant to bullets in general. Or she dodged, and then they just, like, her clothes were, like, going into the wind and then got shot the front off because, like, her elbow's missing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think regular bullets she is, because in last episode we saw her take an axe to, like, the back of the head, and she just pulled it out and threw
it was her the middle
off.
of her spine, too. She's resistant to most things, but, like, also, come on.
Yeah, look at all that rot on her clothes. It looks like she doesn't.
That's lace. Look, the difference is very key. Look at that. It's like dirty and gross looking, and then this is like nice and it's just fucking.
Well, I mean, it could be like, you know, like a darker colored lace, a brown lace. Okay. But it cuts to Aramaki having a meeting with some other dudes talking about how to control terrorists. But he gets a call from the call center saying the Major has been exploded. And he deploys the team. And him and Bato go to the hospital, and 12 minutes have elapsed. They get to the first floor, OR4, and the Major is just sitting there with Sex Man. And they made a bet who would get there first. And it was Section 9, not Section 1. And Bato was like, oh shit, you've been banging that guy for 7 months. That's a record. But Ishikawa gives the report that there was a single 10-gauge shotgun blast and 12 Seibudo M5 casings, which were the Major's, and one dead dude that had a C4 bomb on him. The Major tells Ishikawa to take a different car back since they suspect it's the one and only man that they failed to assassinate, Toru Soma. And she said she used the same tactics to kill 6 of his boys. And in retaliation to him killing 2 of her men, she got him to shoot his own 16-year-old son through a door. But the son bragged about how he helped torture her men. She assumed they killed Soma, but after entering the room, all they saw were footprints from an armored suit. And that was 4 years ago. Aramaki is like, sick. Okay, well, let's handle this. And the Major talks to Sex Man and is like, hey, did you show my picture to anyone or give out my name and address? And he's like, well, I don't want to say. And the Major is like, oh, okay. You ran a check on me at Section 1, huh? Sex Man is like, yeah, I got into the habit of doing that after the wife of one of my boys was leaking intel for 4 years. He was 2 days from retirement. And the head of Section 1 and 2 of his men have the major's file. And she's like, cool, no problem. I had you checked out too. Togusa rides with the major and he's like, well, would be easier if your boy was a civilian. And she's like, yeah, I guess.
It is implied, at least in my thought process, that she didn't actually have him checked out. Because, like, she's like...
Oh, she checked him out. Oh, she checked him out. She was like, oh, yeah, this guy has a 13-inch Sabuto M5 in his pants.
Screw that. Blasting off. Anyways, so... what leads me to believe that is like when she's like, did you have me checked out? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it because then I'm going to ruin our relationship. And she's like, well, that answers that question. And she turns around. She's like, I had you checked out too. It's like, all right, then, you know, like, fuck you kind of thing. That it's like a sentence to hurt someone because you've hurt me.
Sure. We're probably never going to see this guy again, so I guess I don't care.
No, probably not. I probably don't.
But yeah, she has Togusa turn left at the next corner and then has him take another left. So he did a 180-degree turn. So 2 lefts make a right, according to DJ Montague. And I also have a note here that says, I don't know why her hair is brown now. I assume because the guy likes brunettes. That's the only thing I can think of, because last episode, her hair was blue.
Yes, but I think it's because she's going to the thing that she talks about at the end. With the anaconda, dude. And she's got to make an appearance.
Well, I mean, I don't think she's appearing anymore, but yeah. I mean, possibly, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
Sure, she dyed her hair. It's fine.
I mean, it's probably really easy to dye your hair.
Well, yeah, it's probably made out of like fiber optic, so she can just change the color of her hair whenever she wants.
Right, probably.
But yeah, she had brown hair throughout this entire episode, and then next episode, it's just back to blue, and that's it. And no one even said anything. No one was even like, hey, Major, nice hair. Or like, hey, you did something with your hair. That looks good. No, just business as usual. Like maybe they ran out of blue in the art studio and they couldn't.
In all of Japan?
Yeah.
They were like, shit, we're out of blue, guys. What are we going to do for the Ghost in the Shell committee? Oh, I guess we'll just make it brown because we don't want to buy blue. Even though there's blue on the screen right now.
Yeah,
like literally. My theory is that it's because she had to go to that event and it's a formal event with military personnel. So she probably had to dye her hair back and then she's back on the beat next episode. So it's whatever.
I understand that because I did the same thing. I went and did a hair modeling thing where they dyed my hair like 5 different colors. And then we went out, we took the pictures, we did all the stuff. And then I went straight back and they just dyed it black. So I had like 8 hours of hair dyeing that day to dye it the color that was needed. And then to literally dye it back to the original color so I can go back to work tomorrow. And that was back then when, you know, hair color wasn't received very well. But now I don't think it's as like looked down on to have outlandish colored hair. And it was funny, even my last company I was with, they actually had like a clause in the handbook, in the discrimination portion of the handbook that says like you can't discriminate or like tell anyone that their hair color's shit. And I read that. I'm like, damn, that's cool. So then I think it was like my first in-person meeting with like the heads of everyone at that company. And my hair was like neon green. And I could tell that like all of the guys there were like, I don't know, probably like late 60s or something like that, like old school sales guys or whatever. And then I just walk in with neon green hair and I'm just like, hey guys. And I know deep down they wanted to just be like, your hair looks like shit, but they couldn't because of the hair.
Right.
But
that's anyway. One of those like, okay. We got to keep going. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
I can talk about my hair colors all day because I have done that as well. In an era where people fucking hated different hair colors, at least the higher ups.
Yeah, I make it a point now that when I see someone with colored hair that's like working, I usually compliment them on their hair and just like let them know like, hey, you know, it's cool to have colored hair. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Be unique, be you, and I hope you enjoy your colored hair because I love that shit. I am attracted to colored hair though.
Oh damn. I would have been irresistible to you then.
Oh yeah, I've seen you with colored hair, Greg. It was boner inducing for sure.
Okay.
I walked around and I was like, what do I do with all this fucking dick, dude? What the fuck?
I guess I'll just hang my clothes to dry. Oh.
Greg, do you need a towel? I've got one right here, and just pull it off my.
Pass it through the door, and you just punch like a 4-inch hole into the door and hand it to me. All right, they're being tailed. All right, Togusa and the Major being tailed. So they head to a big abandoned factory 15 minutes away, and Togusa has a Fuchikoma 90 meters back with its guns on the car that's tailing them, not their car. But it cuts to Ishikawa, and he sneaks into some police dude's office with optical camouflage and wants info on Toru Soma. And the dude talks about the Benton family, which probably doesn't matter, and then gives a most recent photo of Soma to Ishikawa. Cuts back to the Major and Togusa, and they get to the factory and prepare for battle. But there is a bunch of homeless people in the abandoned factory, but then a truck rolls up and the Major tells Togusa to destroy it immediately with the Fuchikoma. And he does, but then the armor blasts the Fuchikoma in the face and the Major calls for reinforcements. Saito and Aramaki are watching from the command center, and Saito is like, holy shit, they're fucked. And the Major and Togusa try to buy time until backup arrives. They decide to get back to the car and try to drive to the edge of the factory, but the soldiers shoot the car, and the Major is like, damn, that shit was armored. So that means they're using HV rounds, and Togusa is hit. But then the armor rolls up and blows up the car and pushes the Major and Togusa away. And the Major is able to subdue one of the soldiers, but the armor miniguns her, and it's not looking good for our heroes.
Dude, this scene actually went pretty hard. I mean, Kusanagi gets fucked up, and that tank is going absolutely crazy. You've got some really good moments if there was actually more fucking development in this relationship other than literally this one-shot episode.
Yeah, like it was cool. Don't get me wrong. She got her arm blown off. Togusa's hit and he's bleeding out. You know, there was like a little bit of suspense in the episode, but then kind of what we said, like, about last episode with that Yano scene, like at the very end where his mom and his little brother are like stomping the flowers and like he's angry and Bato's like, damn, that was my fault. It was a good scene, but I just didn't feel the gravity of the scene because of how either quickly the story's moving or some other issue, because like, and this is the same way. I feel like this is sick. Like, I feel like this is suspenseful. Like, oh, it's not looking good for Togusa and the Major. But again, it's like, I don't know, man. I know they're going to be fine. We got like 6 more episodes to go of the anime. So I know they're not going to like get rid of either of these guys yet.
Yeah. This is the last we've seen of, other than our main characters. Who gives a fuck about anybody here?
Yeah. But the Major is missing an arm and tries to get in touch with Togusa, but he isn't responding. And the Major sees another soldier and goes to attack, but it's Sex Man. And then she throws a knife at him and he's like, wait, what is she doing here? And the Major reports that they are up against Section 1. Aramaki rolls up to Section 1 office and is like, stand down, and whips out his gat. And the guy aborts the operation, and Aramaki is like, tell me what's going on. He says the operation was to get the real name of Anaconda, a South American drug lord, and the deal was to exchange the Major for the info. Toru Soma sold out the Bentons, and Section 1 took the deal, and Soma is still in the tank and doesn't trust Section 1. But then it cuts back to the factory, and Sex Man is like, we gotta stop Soma. And then Togusa rolls up injured, and Soma is still trying to blast the Major, and the Major gets trapped. And Soma goes for the head rip, but Sex Man tries to stop him and doesn't do anything. But Borma rolls up and blasts the tank with like a fucking rocket, and Soma falls out. And then Borma tosses the Major a gun, and she just shoots him in the face.
She looks sick doing it, though. She blows his fucking head off, literally. Yeah. That guy's head is gone when you see him again. He does not have head.
Yeah.
Okay, let's break this down real quick.
Okay.
We got a MacGuffin rocket launcher. All of this happens super fast.
Well,
we find out that
technically,
Soma's
Borma
in the
said
tank.
He borrowed the rocket launcher from the Special Weapons Division before he came out. So, like, I mean, I guess there's story there. It was a loaner rocket launcher. He has to give it back.
I don't remember that part, so
okay, maybe. Well, it happened, so yeah. But it's still a MacGuffin.
If they had it, like if they were like showed him loading it up into the car, and they're like, "What do you need that fucking for?" He's like, "Insurance," like. And then later on in the episode, he's like, "I told you guys I'd need this rocket launcher," and everyone's like, "Oh, like." That's could have been the episode, but here we are.
So Sex Man helps the Major out of the factory, and Aramaki is there now and says that Soma probably didn't even have any real intel, but Section 1 couldn't resist. And the Major said that in the morning she had her uniform on to visit the Prime Minister for a successful Anaconda assassination meeting. But there's your punchline. So like Anaconda was already dead and Section 1 didn't know. So they basically tried to trade the Major for information about someone that was already dead. And that's it. That's the end of episode 6.
I guess this is an episode of incompetence. Like people die to incompetence all the time. And lack of communication between specific sections. And like you could just assume that the leader of Section 1, while is intelligent enough to get to the head of Section 1, still will throw people and his comrades under the bus or get them killed specifically so that he can get what minor, like they weren't even going to get the head of Anaconda. They were just going to get his name, right?
Yeah,
and like the Benton family gets fucking screwed over. Like all of this is like, yeah, this is just an exercise in incompetence.
Yeah, and it would be fine if there was some sort of theme of incompetence in the show, right? And like we can kind of circle back and attach it to it. But this is just, again, another one-shot episode of stuff happening.
All right. And so we've harped on it enough, I think. You know what? I don't hate the Ghost in the Shell. This episode isn't bad, but I just wish it was expanded more. I wish that they moved some of these scenes around so that we could see them beforehand. We had a scene of Kusanagi making out with girls. It's supposed to be 8 months ago. And so, cool, she's now dating this guy. Why is he not on the date when she's getting another android for her harem house? I don't, like, it's like you could have just put him there. I would have been like, who is this guy? And they'd be like, oh, babe, well, I'll see you later. I'm going to go hang out with these. Or whatever, like, okay, now we have a thought. This guy's in our mind. It's just, it feels like it's built for ADHD. Like the show's built for ADHD. And I have ADHD, okay?
I just fall back to, it's series of short stories, Scooby-Doo-esque with like an underlying theme that ties all of the Ghost in the Shell series together. Animation aside, like this is kind of like Hell Teacher Nube. Even Apocalypse Hotel like had things linking everything back. Maybe like Witch Watch is another one that's just kind of a series of like random episodes, but then they just have like one thread that kind of runs through all of them, and then you can pull it and kind of like link them together.
Apocalypse Hotel had minor threads in terms of like, oh, it's like there are reoccurring characters, but it's also thousands of years apart as we've calculated.
Yeah. Ranma Half is another one that's almost a series of short stories, but then they just have the underlying relationship between the two characters. Like, that's how I'm thinking of Ghost in the Shell at this moment in time, is like this particular version of Ghost in the Shell is not some like deep thinking existential idea that will have you questioning like humanity at the end of it. It's supposed to be like, oh yeah, are robots real? Is AI really a thing? Like what makes a human? Memories? Oh shit, my clothes got blown off and then I'm dating a random guy and then random Scooby-Doo episodes. Let's go find the ghost in the next one. I don't mind Ghost in the Shell. I think it's okay. It's pretty to look at. The animation is great, but I said it before in other episodes, it's just I don't really have a connection to the Major or Bato or Togusa, even though I did in the other series. I had the kind of attachment to the Major. I think everybody did. But here, there isn't really anything to ground yourself on. You were just along for the ride, and then when the ride's over, you get dropped off and you just kind of forget about it, I guess.